take questions around the room. Joel, first question over on the right.
Joel Lorenzi with the Oklahoma Dump. Mark was just in here saying that, the nature of the playoffs is, in the regular season, you wouldn't play a great team 4 games in a row and be schemed against so heavily. I wonder what you learned in that Dallas series last year in terms of what that takes to be schemed against so heavily, what you need to do in terms of temperament game to game to sort of stay level in a series.
Yeah. I think it's exactly that. Like, it's a very unique opportunity, and it's hard to, look at it now because obviously, everybody's playing for a championship. But, regardless of the outcome, when you look back on the summer, you're going to know what you're good at and what you're not just based on how teams guarded you and what they tried to take away. And that's what I learned from Dallas. I think that's why I was able to kind of make, a bigger jump this year is, regardless of how that series ended, I knew what I had to work on this year, and I knew different ways to get better. And I think just whatever the series is, when you're playing somebody that much, it's going to force you to do something. You're either going to get worse or get better. And I think I kind of took that jump and
Joe,
kind of have the same approach with that right now.
Sorry, Joe.
My fault. Long pauses.
My fault.
There's been a lot of talk this playoffs and a lot of evidence in these various series to support this, that momentum doesn't really carry over from game to game in a playoff series.
Yeah.
So when you're at 2-2 in a finals, where is your mind right now about how you feel about this series and how you approach the last 3 games compared to maybe the first 4?
Aside from game planning and scouting, this is a totally new series. We're treating this as game 1. You know what I mean? You can't really focus on what happened in the past or what you could have changed on game 1. You're just looking at the fact that it's tied up now. And I feel like that's the most clean slate attitude you can have with it. And that's the approach that I think both teams are taking. That's definitely the one we're taking. And you just kind of go in there and figure out how to win game 5, and that'd be it.
Tim, front right.
Tim McMahon, ESPN. They basically had you run point last game. What went into the development to get you to a spot where you can run point in the finals? Just how comfortable do you feel with those sort of responsibilities at this point?
Are you talking about my development as a player here or just throughout my career?
All the above.
Okay. Well, I grew up short, so I've always been a point guard. Whenever I kind of get a similar question to this, it's funny because I did grow up playing the 1. A lot of times I think that always goes under the radar, and I played the 1 in college, but I think college too was the first time that I got introduced to playing a wing. I had to play the wing my first 2 years, and then in my 3rd year I went back to something that I normally played at. And then same thing kind of with the NBA. I started off really running a lot of the wing up until my 2nd year. So I've had a lot of experience. My learning curve was more how to play off the ball than it was on the ball. So I'm pretty comfortable doing it. And I think at the same time, if everybody on our team can kind of figure out a different way to be successful and change during the series, I can do that. And it's just something that as the game went on, it just naturally, organically happened, and I was kind of ready for that.
Anyone else with a final question? We'll do the last 2 on the right side. Vince first.
Vince Goodwill, Yahoo Sports. This has been a pretty emotionally swinging series from game 1 to game 4. I can imagine how fatiguing it is. When you haven't played this long, this deep into a season, how do you manage the fatigue against the excitement and the opportunity of all of this?
Yeah, the emotional swings, I think I've honestly gotten better with them as time went on because we've had so many different series of you go to game 1 of Denver. I've never lost that way in a series that means a lot. And then even this one, the way we lost the first game, there's so many ups and downs, and we've constantly had that throughout this run. And then even last year, we've had so many of those. I'm kind of numb to the ups and downs, and it just kind of comes with basketball. But as far as my body and not playing this long, that all starts ironically, it all starts in June, whenever the season ends. But taking care of your body throughout the season, how I eat, how I prepare throughout the year allows me to be able to play this way, and my body feels good. What I'm doing after games to recover, win or loss, I think is a big one for me. So I try and do that pretty consistently and find a routine, and that's been really helpful.
Last one, back right.
Yeah, Cliff Brunt, Associated Press. I wanted to talk about a few ups and downs that you've had. Against Denver, a couple of rough games, with a really big Game 7. Minnesota, Game 3 was rough, but you came back with a really strong Game 4. In the finals, rough start, but yet Game 3 better, Game 4 dominant. How do you flush those games where you don't shoot well and then come back and not only shoot well, but do so in really important games that can kind of turn the tide of a series or clinch?
Just understanding that basketball is full of ups and downs and can't get too high or too low. It kind of goes like, it's like the same thing as like if I go the next game and I don't miss a shot, like it really has no bearing on what I do the next game. You know what I mean? Like I go out and not make a shot. So it's more about like understanding like all the things I can do to affect winning. Like we were like shooting like 8% from the three last game and still figure out a way to win. So there's always different ways that I can impact winning and stuff like that. And I work really hard on my game. So there won't be a game where I don't shoot well and it affects my confidence to not shoot those shots like my team needs me to shoot them. So that's kind of like the confidence I have going into it, and wherever the shots fall, they fall.
Thanks, Jalen.